So guys, I hope you guys are getting this, because it's hard to put everything, in a little nutshell and serve it to you and think that you're going to just, but let's start somewhere.
You might have to rewatch it. Right.
Or you got to do some work, guys. Yeah. Like, everything in life is about work. The relationship is the one thing in life that they don't teach us in school. Right. They don't teach us in any school. They don't teach us on the professional level. Mm-hmm. And so we grow up and we're just
show up to work on time.
Sure no, I'm talking about professional, about relationships. Professionally, okay. Right. So if you want a degree, they don't teach you, right. Hey, let's get a degree in relationships, right? Yeah. So this is an area that is kind of like a taboo, right? Whereas people before just didn't talk about it. Your parents didn't talk about the issues they had.
Sure didn't.
They didn't tell you about things that you should and shouldn't do, right?
Sometimes, and you got to be careful about the information you get too, because if you're scoring or
That's true.
the information's gonna come out skewed. I had a buddy that a friend or uncle told him something about women, right?
And
you can't trust women. You can't trust women. You can't trust no woman. And nobody. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you get married, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I can't trust.
I can't trust a woman.
So does that create problems in your relationship? Absolutely. Is it spoken? Absolutely
what he
not.
Picked up as his truth.
Right.
He's young. He's impressionable.
Yep.
His older uncle tells him, don't ever trust a woman. Women can't be trusted. Now he's 7, 8, 9 years old, and this has stuck with him his whole entire life.
In the back of his mind,
and it became his truth.
Yeah.
It became his truth.
It became his truth.
So, we're not perfect, but if we want to start creating this life that we want to live, and we want it to be more fulfilling, and we want to have relationships that are thriving, then we have to take a look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what belief and truth am I believing, either about myself or someone else or in general, that I need to change in order for me to experience a better life? Because God created us to experience all the good things on earth. Yeah. When we experience things other than what God creates experience, because we have free will, and we decided to pick up somebody else's lie as our truth, and now we're living somebody else's lie.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you the truth. But I'll tell you the truth.
And if you want to know if you're growing, when you're in those situations and they present themselves, and you react differently, you know that you're on your way, you're growing, and then that way you know that the situation and the outcome in that situation has started to change. That's how you know you're starting to grow. But if we're having the same old argument, saying the same old things to each other, we get the same old way.
Or one person's saying it, and the other person's just listening the same old way, and we can predict the outcome. If you can predict an outcome, that means nothing has changed.
You know what? We were talking with a couple once, and it was really interesting.
One of tons of millions of thousands of times.
Right. Mm-hmm. Somehow we always end up in a relationship conversation.
This is true.
And we were having an interaction, and it was rough because they were cutting each other up, right? And I was like, this is truly not happy, right? This is tough. This is tough to talk about. So here we are trying to mediate. It's like, hey, man, she don't like, this.
XYZ,
right? Can't you just give an inch on this? It was something small, right? So, pick your pants up out of the floor after you take a shower. It's something small. Dude, you could do that, and that would alleviate some of the pressure. They couldn't get over it, and they were just going, and they were having issues. And it was not hard to see that if they didn't change some things, that this relationship was not going to work.
And if I can look back to that relationship and that conversation, and neither person wanted to see or put themselves in the other person's shoes.
Yeah, you tried.
Because and sometimes you have to see things from someone else's perspective so that you can kind of see the things that you don't want to see about yourself.
Right.
Sometimes we can't see how we're being unreasonable. Right. Sometimes we can't see how we're asking of things of people that we wouldn't ask of ourselves.
Right, but I'm not being unreasonable. It's my truth. If it's my truth, it's not unreasonable.
Just tell people that you mean in general.
In general,
that's
right?
What he's thinking, right? That's what he's thinking. This is my truth.
This is how I've always thought since I was a kid. This is part of my upbringing. Now, this is how it is. This is how relationships are supposed to go.
This is how my relationship is supposed to be because this is what I was told.
Yes.
This is what I've experienced, and this
Yes.
is what I'm going to stick to. And again, if we don't change, if we can't see that change is needed,
Right.
too often in relationships we say, don't try to change the person, right?
Right.
But if you start the relationship off right, we do have to change certain things if certain things in our relationship are not working.
Right.
Right? So that's inevitable. Change is inevitable. We just like we go from being 2 to 4 to 6 to 12 to 22 to 42 and on. We have to change. Our bodies have to change. Our minds change. And hopefully, if we're feeding ourselves the right information and we're facing and challenging the things that come up, either from our parents, from our aunts and uncles, from our friends' relationships, from the relationships in the past, unless we challenge those truths and we asking, is this really what's going here? What part am I really playing in the outcome and the orchestration of what's going on in my relationships and in my life? Until we realize that we have to change a few things, we're gonna keep experiencing the same thing.
Right. Stay on social media.
We on social media.
I know we are.
No, I wouldn't say stay off social media. I would say,
How you internalize it?
I would say,
said you
first of all,
internalize it.
you only watch what you're attracted to. So if you're being attracted to things that are negative and are not very
Okay.
uplifting and not very
And those things that show
positive,
up in your life?
then that's what you're experiencing because
Right.
you're getting more,
Right.
you're feeding yourself more of what you don't want in your life, but that's what you're going to create because that's what you're drawn to. So again, we should be able to, guys, lots of times we just have to face some things that are could be really, truly hard for us to understand and digest because it has been entrenched in us so long. It has been a part of our neurological connection for so
Yeah.
long that we don't even see another way of looking at things. But until we start realizing that we have to break it apart, break it down, look at things in a different manner, and ask yourself, write down things that what can I face? What can I not face about myself about this situation? Right? We have to be honest, and then we can start changing it. But if we can't be honest with the things that are holding us back or preventing us from having thriving relationships, whether with our neighbors or with the person we live with or the person that we're hoping to bring into our life, until we can really truly dismantle those beliefs that we have now thought as truth, until we start facing the facts in a different way, challenging them. Are they really facts? Is this really the way that it's supposed to be? Am I really supposed to interact like this? Right. Until we start challenging those things and those thoughts that have created a rut in our brain, we're going to keep experiencing the same thing.
And that's why we said in the beginning, this is going to take a lot of work. This is going to be a lot of self-work because it's not easy. It's